Good afternoon. We're going to go over the watch list for next week for 12/16, and the list is pretty big. Week should be better than last week because we don't have the Fed meeting or China trade deal stuff going on, the tariffs, but there could be still things that come up, like they haven't signed the China trade deal, so probably fall through. Who knows? I wouldn't trust it. I don't trust it. I think it's all a scam, but whatever. I'll start with the bullish side first. The bearish side's pretty lengthy, so the bullish side's fairly small. And I get Home Depot up first, and on the daily, which is on the left, and the hourly is on the right. On the daily, you can see a falling wedge. A falling wedge is bullish. I mean, it can go down more. Yeah, sure. It could fill the gap down to here to 209, and if it does, that's where I'd be interested. So a gap fill is possible. I mean, it's already come down to the low 210.61. I mean, all it needs to do is come down another $2, and it will fill the gap. So it could do that. It could not. I don't know. But either way, I would like it either at the 209 area. And if it doesn't get over the 209, if it doesn't pull back to the 209, I would look at it over 215. And if it does get over 215, I could see it going all the way up to 218.50 to the middle Celt, which is the 20 EMA on the daily. And that would be my target if it gets over 215, would be the 219, 218 area. And if it can get over that, if it can get over this area right here, I mean, probably can get up to the 223 would be next area of resistance for Home Depot if it gets any momentum. So definitely be watching Home Depot. And the next one I have is BA. BA is going to be tricky. Boeing, it's down here right at support, right at the 340 area. It likes to bounce, so it's got an inside candle from Friday. So I mean, if it gets any bad news, I mean it can sink and go all the way down to the 330 area to 325. But if it doesn't have any bad news, you could see it possibly bouncing here. And if you look at the let me see here, the hourly, you have a hidden divergence now. Now, what I mean by a hidden divergence is that the prices here is on the hourly is lower, and over here it's higher, and because that is lower and that's higher, the hidden is this is lower and that's higher. So you can see what I mean. You get that going that way, and you get this coming down. So when you have the price going up in the stochastics or MACD or RSI, whatever you use, if this starts showing a different direction, which this is going lower, that means it's showing a hidden divergence. So you could see BA making a reversal here. So I would like it over the, what's this area right here? Probably the 343 area. And if it gets over 343, we could see another run to 350. So assuming there's no bad news. And if it does get over the 350 area, which is right here, I mean, you could see another 354 retest. And that is right where the middle Celt is, or the 20 EMA on the daily. So if it does make that reversal, I mean, 354 is in the cards for Boeing. So like I said, there is a hidden divergence right here on the hourly. Now the next one is McDonald's, which we've been playing a lot a couple weeks ago. Hopefully it's done chopping around. As you can see in the daily, it's just like Chop City through here. So you look at it on the weekly, bring it up on the weekly on another screen. Yeah, the weekly it's chopping around too. Just bring it up so you can see it's all these inside candles, and I think that it can make another run to 200 if it can get some momentum and stop selling off or chopping at least. So I would look at it over this 198 level for a run to 200. And if it can get some momentum going, we could probably possibly even see it come up here and retest this gap at the 205. So over 198 for McDonald's on the daily. And the hourly, I mean, it shows it's a little bit extended. So I mean, it could pull back a little bit before making a run. So, but yeah, over 198 at McDonald's would be fine. Now, next one is Roku, and Roku is going to be a priority watch because every time Roku has a deep red day, it likes to bounce, and you can see right here on the hourly, last time it got down to this 132 area, it popped really hard into the 152. So I mean, this is Monday to Thursday, so within 3 days it went $20, sorry. And I would definitely keep an eye on that. But if it does seem to break this, I mean, it could get down to the 128 and possibly even down into the 119, 120 area. So, but I think that it could possibly bounce right here. So tomorrow Roku will be a priority watch for a bounce. Next one I have is DLTR, which is Dollar Tree, I believe. Yep, Dollar Tree. Now it's just been chopping around through here. So if it gets over 94, I think it makes a run to 98. Retest the gap resistance. Now the thing that's interesting is the hourly, not hourly, weekly. See right here, this 89 area, it bounced just like it did a week ago. Look what it did last time we got to this area, the weekly. I mean, we have debit spreads for going out to January, so I would be very shocked if this doesn't bounce hard and on Dollar Tree. So I think Dollar Tree is going to be one to really watch over 94 to 98. Fix my daily. Next one I have is Target. Now Target is going to be a very I don't know. I'd play small on this one because this one could go either way. I mean, it's showing a bullish ascending wedge on the hourly and I guess on the weekly too. And if it breaks out over the 128, I mean, it can pop to all-time highs, which this is all-time highs. Is it all-time highs? Let's make sure. Let's go back. Weekly 5 years. Oh yeah, that's all-time highs. But I don't like that it's like up here chopping around 128 to 123, and there's this huge gap down here on the daily. So I'd be cautious that if it does break out, that it could be a false breakout. So I would play small and over 128. I think that if it does break out, it would be very small and it will probably trap some long. So I would only scalp it. I wouldn't hold for a big run. I think it's going to be a trap. So, and if it is a trap, I would look to short down into the gap. So Target, I mean, it's really kind of not something I really care about, but it's something definitely worth noting that if it breaks out, it could break out, but just know the risks. And SHAK, that's another one that's like a descending channel wedge, whatever you want to call it right here. So I think, if it gets over this 60 range, get to retest the 62, possibly even get into the 66. But SHAK is like McDonald's, it's just been chopping around. So I would watch it. Let's see if I see any divergence here. I don't really see anything. It's just right here in the hourly. You can see it's like wedging, like a symmetrical wedge right here, triangle. So yeah, over 60 I think will be good for SHAK. Now on the the short side, I have quite a few, and one of them I have is Hasbro. Now, the reason I have Hasbro on here is that it's up here testing the gap resistance from the gap down, so there is a high probability that it's probably gonna drop, and if it does, I mean, I'm liking it probably under the 102 area to come down and retest the 98 on Hasbro. So keep an eye on Hasbro. And then you get some divergence going on right here. So you can see right here, higher high and lower high on the stochastic. So it's showing a little bit of a bearish divergence. So under 102 will be a short on Hasbro. EOG is the next one. Now EOG, once it gets into the 70 area, it's having a hard time staying up. So in stochastics are pointing down. So I think, if it gets under 75, I think that we could see it come down to the 70 region. So I like EOG for a short. Hourly is, it's trending down on the hourly, but yeah, I'll possibly touch that one. I'm not sure. We'll see how it plays out. Win is another one. Now, Win is really overextended on the hourly. I mean, this was what, earnings, I believe. I have to check my. Where are you? Bring up my other one. Win. Oh, I typed in one wrong. No, that wasn't. Yeah, that must have been news or something. I don't know. Or technical breakout. Doesn't matter. It pulled back from here, so under 129.50. Look for it to go to 128, and if it gets to 128, possibly 124 would be the next target. So I think that it will pull back and at least test the middle Celt, if not to the 30 SMA on that. So Win will be a short. The next one is let's see, NVDA. Now NVIDIA is showing that it's got like a top reversal right here, a top doji candle, and then it's kind of wedging down right here. I guess it's a symmetrical triangle right here on the hourly, but stochastics are up over 80, showing like a topping candle. So I mean, I would look for it under the 222 for at least a retest of the 216 area, 216.50 for NVIDIA, and not really seeing much of a divergence. Let me see if it. Let me look on the other one, my other chart, because I don't have my RSI or that on. Yeah, see on the daily on NVIDIA, you're showing a MACD divergence. So I'll show you right here. See, you get higher high, and this is going down, and this is kind of flat to somewhat going down on the RSI. So there was a little bit of a divergence on NVIDIA, so that's why I'm favoring a pullback on it. Netflix. Yeah, this one's going to be tricky. I think a lot of people are going to fall for this, but I don't think, hopefully we won't. Now, Netflix right here, it's showing like, where is it? Let me look at it on the other chart. Whoops, typed in the wrong ticker. Yeah, see right here, it's kind of showing like a ascending triangle right here on the hourly, and the thing that's caught my attention is the daily. It rejected the 20 EMA, and usually when they do that, it's gonna fall, because every time it's in a trending, it likes to test it. So right here, it changed direction and it came back, retested it, and popped. Now when it's downtrending, it does the same thing. It came down here, retested it and dropped, retested it and dropped, retested it and dropped. And it keeps doing it. Did it like 4 or 5 times right here. So it changed direction. It changed, you know, from uptrending to downtrending right here, lower highs. So even though it's ascending right here and it has a bullish pattern, it's going to fall apart. So I'm thinking it's short. Anything under, it's probably, well, it'll probably end up gapping down. But if it doesn't, you know, under the 297 area, if it gets under 297, look for at least 294. If it gets under 294, be 292, 285 on the daily. 285 looks like it could be the most extreme possibly on Netflix. So I think it's gonna fool a lot of people. People are gonna buy it and it's gonna fall apart. So I like it. I like Netflix for sure. Let's see, Cat's been kind of tricky to play, but see, Cat gets over here to above the 148 and it gets rejected. I mean, got up here, tested it a couple times and rejected. Here, rejected. So, you know, I would look. I mean, on the hourly, it looks like the hourly could pop. But so if it does pop, you might grab a short in the 148, but it could possibly break out. But I'm looking at it from the short perspective, and a 145 to a 140 retest on Cat. So if Cat does bounce, I think it's going to be short-lived. So assuming it won't break out, but you're going to be aware that it could break out if it gets in the up to the 148, even though it's tested a few times and rejected. The more it retests it, the more of a chance it has to break out. So, but if the market's red, Cat's going to follow it, and under 145 to 140 on Cat. And see, the price is pretty much flat, and this is kind of going down. So kind of like an exaggerated divergence right here. The prices, when you have the exaggerated divergences, when you have the price at like here and here, but yet the stochastic is here and it's lower, it's kind of like exaggerated a little bit. I'll probably end up doing a video lesson on divergences probably here soon and explain them better. But Cat is definitely gonna like for sure. Now the other one I have is Baba. Why does it keep doing that? Now Baba, it's just, I think that something's going to come out with the China trade news. They're going to say, oh, we're not going to sign the deal, or something's bogus is going to happen. But I mean, you can see right here, it's a rising wedge. Rising wedges are bearish. They don't keep going. So I would like Baba under, you know, what is the high that's getting under 203 for 201 to 198. This is not going to sustain. I mean, it's gonna fall apart. So yeah, under 294 to retest the 200 area on Baba. And as you can see, it's a divergence going on right here. Higher highs, and right here it's going down. So there's a divergence on the daily. But the problem is divergences can go on for a long time. So this is a high probability short, because you got not only a bearish divergence going on, but you also got a rising wedge. A rising wedge is a bearish. So you get two significant factors here for a short on Baba. So Baba will be a one to watch on a for tomorrow. High priority watch. Let's see, URI. Let's get that one up. URI, same thing. It's got a wedge going, not a wedge, but a divergence going on right here. It's got a bearish divergence going on. So this one's been kind of tricky to play. Let's see what the weekly looks like. Yeah, the weekly has got a lot of resistance right here into the 165 area. So if it can get under on the hourly, like underneath the 161, I would look to short down into the 156 area, or even the 157.50 area for URI, because you have that bearish divergence on the daily right there. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking about URI. That I might not play that one. It's hard to say because it doesn't really have much volume on URI, but it'd be definitely one to watch. And the other one I have is Apple. Apple is just another one that's just keeps going up. Now let's see what Apple looks like on my toss. Yeah, see right here. I'll show you on. You can't see it on my E-Trade because I don't have the MACD or RSI, but you can see right here a divergence going on. You got higher highs and MACD's going down, RSI is going down, so you get a big time bearish divergence going on in Apple, but Apple just doesn't seem to care right about now. And like I said, been saying for a while, divergences can go on and on and on and on and on. So just because you see it doesn't mean you jump right in. You wait for it to break level. So it breaks under the what's the hourly right here. Let's go with this one right here. If it gets underneath the 273.50 area, look to short down to the 271 area, then to the 268. Yeah, or even 260, 269 and 268 on Apple. I think it's going to be due to pull back, but it's going to be dependent on what the market does, or unless it gets bad news or something, I don't know. But just have to keep an eye on it. Disney. Everyone's going to say Disney is going to pop, but Disney's been a loser for the last 2 weeks. Frozen 2 broke all kinds of records. The market doesn't care about it. Apptopia had good numbers. It doesn't care. So I think Disney's going to fall apart. It's got a head and shoulders on the daily, which I said last week. It still hasn't broke out of it. The pattern's still good. Underneath the 146, it's going to come down here to 144 and retest that. If it breaks to 144, it's going to go to 140. So the hourly looks ugly. So I would be very careful with Disney. So I think Disney's going to pop out. I'd even grab it under 146 for the 144. So yeah, Disney would be one to definitely watch for tomorrow. And the last one is EXPE. Expedia has been going really well, but you can see it, the rising wedge right here. It's just been going up and up. And the reason I'm shorting it, I'd be shorting it right here, is right here. It gapped down from ER. It's retesting the gap support, gap resistance, I mean. And I think that, underneath the 112, you're going to see it pull back to at least the 108, possibly even down to the 102, 103 area. So, and it's got a divergence going on right here. See right here on the stochastics? Let's see, excuse me. Let's see what it looks like on TOS. No, it's not showing a divergence on TOS, only on the stochastics. So yeah, that's a big time divergence. But yeah, it's getting up into this gap resistance, and usually when they have a big gap down, they like to come retest the gap down resistance area. Then it will fall apart, and they end up forming like a cup and handle kind of scenario. Like it will come up, retest, and it will pull back to like 108. Then it will come back up here and retest to 114. Then it will pop and fill the gap. So that's what happens. It will either form a cup and handle or form an inverted head and shoulders when it's testing it a couple times before it fills the gap. But yeah, that's it for the watch list. I know it's pretty big. The high priority watches will be Roku, Baba, Disney, and Netflix, and stuff like that. But yeah, keep it, write down the levels, write down the tickers, put up your alerts on the expectations of where to break down or break out or whatever with the plan. And let's see how this week plays out. It should be a good week. Like I said, there's no FOMC, China trade deal. I mean, the tariffs are pretty much off the table for now, unless something happens and falls apart. That hasn't been signed, so we'll see what happens. But that's it. If you're not in the room, make sure you are. And that's it.